My man only started making real money because of me. That line sounds powerful, almost flattering, and people love repeating it because it gives a simple answer to something that is actually complex. I'm not here to attack women, of course, because I'm the woman, or turn this into some gender war, so please don't rush to label it before you even hear the point. If you listen all the way through, the picture becomes a lot more grounded and a lot less dramatic than this idea makes it seem. What people often describe as "I gave him that state" is usually a mix of things that feel big from the inside but look very different when you step back. A calmer environment, less chaos, someone who does not pull him down when things are unstable, someone who stays when there is no clear result yet, someone who does not distract him from his own direction. All of that matters, and it can change how fast a person moves, how focused they are, how much unnecessary pressure they carry. It can even feel like a turning point, but turning that into a climb that a woman created his ability to earn more is where things get distorted. Men who build something serious do not suddenly develop ambition because someone entered their life. That structure exists long before anyone shows up. The way they think, the way they take risks, the way they push through uncertainty, the way they tolerate pressure and keep going without immediate reward. All of that is already there in some form. Sometimes it's messy, unfocused, buried under distractions or bad habits, and the right relationship can reduce that noise and force a certain level of order. That shift can feel like transformation, so it gets described as "she changed everything." But the core did not come from her, it was already part of him. This is where people start mixing two different things into one and calling it the same. Support and origin are not interchangeable. Even though it is convenient to treat them that way, it sounds better to say "she made me successful" than to admit that success came from a long internal process that was not always visible, not always impressive, and definitely not easy to package into a romantic sentence. It also sounds better from the other side to say "I give him the state to earn more" than to say "I benefit from what he builds." So the narrative reinforces itself on both ends. There are men who genuinely become more stable in relationships, and there are women who provide real support that is not loud, not performative, and not tied to immediate reward. Staying when there is no money yet, when there is no status yet, when there is no nothing to show off, that kind of presence has weight. And that is exactly why long-term partners who went through the early phase are respected differently. Yeah, of course there is cases when men elevated and leave the woman, but this is another scenario already. They were part of the process before it looked like success, and that is where support actually has substance. At the same time, that does not mean they installed ambition, discipline, or the ability to build something from scratch. Those things do not appear from emotional proximity. Another layer people avoid talking about is how often relationships pull attention away from work instead of enhancing it. Focus shifts, priorities blur, energy gets redirected, and in some cases things fall apart entirely because the internal structure was not strong enough to hold both. This part does not fit the beautiful story, so it gets ignored, but it exists just as much as the examples people like to highlight. The idea that a woman can elevate a man's income simply by being present sounds appealing because it gives meaning and power to presence alone. It turns something passive into something influential, but if there is no internal engine, nothing starts moving just because someone believes in it. And if this engine is already there, it will run regardless, just under different conditions. Relationship can make the road less chaotic, less lonely, more structured, stable, and that's as valuable in a real, grounded way. Stretching that into a climb that without me he would never have made it is where the line gets crossed and reality gets replaced with a story that feels good but does not hold up under any serious look. So if the goal is to stay honest, the distinction matters. Support can amplify what already exists. It can hold things together during unstable phases. It can even accelerate progress in the right conditions. What it cannot do is generate ambition, instill discipline, or create a builder out of someone who does not have the structure in the first place. And once you see the difference clearly, the original phases stop sounding deep and start sounding like a very convenient oversimplification. I could point out exactly which women tend to push this phrase the most in their stories and courses, but I probably won't. I don't want to slide into unnecessary hate, and then this is just how life works, right? There's no judgment here, only an honest breakdown of a dynamic that actually operates differently. I used to think along similar lines myself, but now that I understand the mechanics a bit better, it becomes clear. The beautiful idea of because of me is a convenient story, but reality is far more prosaic and honest. Have a good day, guys.